someone on the way. Chopper out here now. Mate,
I told that ambulance bloke if he'd get here in 20 minutes, she'd be dead. We love each other so much, and we're still going to live more or less the dream life that we always knew we would.
I didn't know whether Mac would want to be burdened with someone with my disabilities.
Hello, I'm Jim Higgins, Acting Commissioner of the Queensland Ambulance Service. Last year, we and other rescue services were involved in a major emergency involving a young married couple on their central Queensland farming property. The severity of this particular accident and the remoteness of the property posed huge challenges. Several months down the track, Mac and Gail Shan are still coming to terms with the aftermath, as is the local community, who have raised tens of thousands of dollars for them. This is the story of Mac and Gail.
Gail's overall appearance has always been one of her main things. She doesn't want to be seen anywhere, even by me, without looking as good as she can.
I think it's difficult to go from being a person that some people might find attractive to being a person that you think no one could find attractive. Oh, Mac's amazing for such a bloke. It's very difficult to explain to someone where to put something without pointing. But maybe one semi-disaster, but other than that, pretty good, really.
Learning to do all the girly things for Gail, like all the things that us boys sit there and sort of wait for and that. Yeah, I mean, they're not as hard as they look, I don't think. Gail sort of ran me through a few pointers and that with the mirrors and all those sorts of things, and now it's getting fairly easy to do, yeah.
I guess what I've learnt overall is the power of the mind and how you can overcome problems and pains that you're feeling by just telling yourself that they're not happening and putting yourself in a different place where you're not really having the pain. When I'm in the pool and my arm's out and I'm floating, the pains really do go as much as they possibly can, and I can feel as normal as possible and feel as pain-free as I ever have since the accident. I've learned that life can be changed in a matter of minutes. I've learned that you should always leave loved ones with loving words, as it may be the last time you see them. I've learned that either you control your attitude or it controls you.
Canberra Park is 28,000 acres, just north of Moranbah. It runs about 2,500 drought master cattle, but the last few years certainly haven't been running anything like that. We got back to about 500 head during the drought, yeah.
The rain came about 4 weeks ago, and it's amazing what a bit of Mother Nature can do. The transformation is just unbelievable. Within a month, the grass is just jumping out of the ground, whereas before it was just absolutely bare and dust, and the cattle were eating all the bushes. Now they've got grass up to their eyeballs. Between Mac and I guess we've got about 25 horses. We moved to Cantor Park about 2.5 years ago. It's owned by my dad and my sister's company. Mac and I moved there and took over management of it. Basically, it was just Mac and I. That was the beauty of the whole setup, you know. It was us. We did everything together. When we first met, Mac was quite young. He's 3 years younger than I am. And I think it was at a camp draft, and I think in particular that I was attracted to Mac's friendly face and gorgeous smile, I think.
Yeah, I think what attracted me to Gail was she was by far the most beautiful person around the area at the time, and I didn't think I had much chance, but yeah, we just got talking and one thing led to another.
I was pretty fussy and he seemed to fit the quota.
Mac, he just idolised Gail right from the start, didn't he?
Yes.
And we were just gobsmacked because he'd come in and we'd been mustering all day or something, and I mean Gail's just a workaholic. She'd be in the laundry folding all the laundry, Mac would be in there folding the laundry, she'd go to cook tea, Mac would be there cutting up veggies, and we were like, God, how do we get our boyfriends to do that?
Gail Shan, this competitor.
Gail Shan. Right in connection.
Get him out. Yeah, keep pushing Darcy. Gail Shan, out on course.
She's always been very competitive. I mean, she's one of the most aggressive lady riders around, I suppose you'd say. She's there to win and there to take home as many ribbons as she can.
Go, Gail! When I got to realise that Gail and Mac were getting really serious with their relationship, I was just so thrilled.
Look at that, yeah. Fantastic.
Our wedding day did symbolise, you know, everything. It was finally Mac and I coming together.
Mac and Gail, you've declared...
Those vows that we said, no one could have possibly known what was 3 years down the track for us. The accident happened just after 7 o'clock in the morning when we first started work that day, but that whole day is gone from my memory. I don't remember getting up and even having breakfast. So I have absolutely no memories of that day.
When we came to Cantor Park, the fence had been started, a wooden fence around one side of the house. So we decided to pull it out and put a steel fence in. We were planning on doing it ages ago, and then we eventually got Adam Griffin to come over and give us a hand. We dropped the auger on the hole and started digging, and Gail started shoveling away, and she realised she couldn't really stand up on the garden bed and shovel, so Gail went round to the driver's side, I suppose you'd say, of the tractor. The machine that Gail got caught in was a post hole digger driven by a PDO shaft off the back of the tractor. Quite a few people think Gail must have caught in the actual auger that digs the hole, but it was actually the shaft that runs the auger, which spins a lot quicker and is by far the most dangerous part of it. 1 minute she was there, and next minute she was getting thrown around, making a dreadful noise. The back of Gail's glove got caught in a release pin and dragged Gail in. So I immediately put my foot on the clutch, which stopped the shaft. And then I turned the machine off, and Adam Griffin was right just in front of me welding, and he heard nothing of it. I ran over to him, sort of hysterically, sort of yelling out to him.
I would have hated to be in his shoes that day, because I'd imagine that he was sort of, at the time, sort of half blaming himself because he was operating the bloody thing. And
she had a terrible sort of blood coming from her head, and she was hanging by her arms. And I mean, she looked as dead as you could get, and I raced inside and I rang the ambulance.
Ambulance, what's the location of your emergency?
Yes, I'm on a property at Mooramba. It's Cantor Park, and we're in desperate need of an ambulance.
Okay, what's the problem out there?
My wife's been caught in a post hole digger, and she's very, very badly injured.
Okay.
We may need a helicopter, like we're an hour out of Mooramba.
If you could find out what parts of the body are affected, how she's going.
Her arm's just absolutely smashed, and I don't even know that she's alive.
Okay, mate, but we'll...
I could really throw her around.
I saw Gail entangled in the PDO shaft. Took her out of the shaft and carried her inside and put her on the bed. I didn't realise until halfway in that the arm was gone, you know? The other arm was gone. Then I knew we were in real trouble. Like,
Okay, mate, we'll give you a call back.
Adam came running in and took the phone from me.
To see
Who am I talking to?
Mate, you got the ambulance service here.
The helicopter out here.
Okay, mate,
We've lost a limb, we've lost a left arm,
left arm, yeah.
left a right arm, we've broken a left arm, subsequent laceration to her head.
Yeah. Is she still conscious at the moment?
No, mate.
I ran outside. I got halfway to the tractor and realised he'd got Gail out of the tractor. I actually followed her blood trail and found her on the spare bed. She was just moaning. What happened? Mac, help me, I'm in so much pain.
while I was on the phone, Mac he was in there talking to her, and Gail kept saying that she wanted to put her arms down by her side.
And I lifted up the blanket and I had no idea that Gail's right arm was missing, and there was just a massive big sort of black hole in her side. And that was very, very hard to deal with.
We've got someone on the way.
Chopper out here now.
Mate,
I told that ambulance bloke if he didn't get here in 20 minutes, she'd be dead.
She'll be dead.
I got the arm and took it out of its clothing, and it wasn't in a real good state. It would have been a miracle if they got it back on. And put it in the freezer.
I was the medical officer on duty for the Royal Flying Doctor Service in Rockhampton. We weren't sure if we'd be able to land on the property. The helicopter rescue service from Mackay was activated and asked to respond to the property, as well as the Murumba ambulance crew with the Murumba doctor to respond. We knew that it was going to take over an hour for each of us to get there.
My fiancé Rob and I live on Glen Evans Station, which is approximately 15 kilometres from where Gail and Mackie live. According to Mac, on the morning of the accident, it was Gail's suggestion that they rang me, which is amazing. But Gail did know that I was a nurse, but it would be over 20 years since I practiced clinically. After the phone call, Rob raced to get the vehicle for me, and I went to the telephone in the office to ring the Flying Doctor Service to gain authorisation to administer either morphine or pethidine to Gail when I got to the site. I asked Adam to go and get the Flying Doctor kit out of the back of the four-wheel drive. I asked Mackie to bring me a telephone and to keep that telephone for myself and the Flying Doctors.
Until we landed on the property, I kept in constant contact with Robin via our satellite phone. She was able to give me feedback as to Gail's condition, and I was able to then give her further instruction as to what to do.
I had to locate the main offending blood vessels and pinch them off with my hands, because the one thing the Flying Doctor kit didn't have in it was, artery forceps. And I did call for Mackie to see if there were any dog clips in the office. I thought anything that would do, that would work as artery forceps. But there wasn't anything. So I used the only thing I had, and that was my hands. And I held the blood vessels together with my hands until they clotted. And that hurt Gail. She kept telling me that I was hurting her. And I just told Gail that I had to do this.
It was close to 2 hours from the initial accident to the first medical personnel arriving. Essentially, all the first aid provided was by Robin. In that time period between the accident happening and medical help arriving, that Robin single-handedly probably kept Gail alive.
For a lot of the time, I just felt very much in control. But when I thought that Gail may not make it, I felt extraordinarily alone and just drew on everything that I had to get the result that we got. But without Gail's cooperation, we may not have achieved that. You know, she was remarkable.
First of all, they told me that I'd lost my arm, and all I could think of straight away was, okay, can I ride with one arm? Yes, I can. I know people that do. It'll just be difficult.
When the doctors told us that the left arm was paralysed and, to their knowledge, irreparable, we were terrified of telling Gail because we thought she might not want to go on, may not want to live, not being able to do anything for herself.
I think it was worse to know that the other arm wasn't working. I mean, you know, you look there and you think, well, at least I've still got one arm. And initially we were thinking, you know, well, Gail's left-handed, so it's a blessing that her left arm is the one that was left. But, you know, it all became 10 times worse when we knew that that arm didn't work. I guess, yes, at one point I definitely did think, would I be better off dead?
It just seems unfair, I suppose, that a person like Gail has been dealt this kind of trauma that's going to affect her life forever. But I guess with time, it will help.
Okay, I just want you to shrug your shoulders up in the air for me, Gail.
The right arm and the shoulder blade was absolutely ripped off the chest wall, yet extraordinarily, the nerves that used to supply that arm were all normal. And yet, on the other side, we had a healthy-looking arm, and yet every nerve that supplied that left arm was completely destroyed. So this was a most unusual injury and one that we'd never seen before. So we harvested the ulnar nerve along with its artery and vein, and we used it as a graft, as well as the nerves from the leg. We hooked those grafts onto the nerves that used to supply the right arm, swung them around in front of the neck, and hooked them up onto healthy nerve in the left arm. Do you have any feeling in the thumb?
No.
What about in these fingers? Any feeling at all?
No.
And what about up here on the forearm? Is there any sensation?
No.
Any here?
No.
We won't see anything happening in the left arm for at least a year, and then even longer once it reaches along the arm into the muscles of the arm, and if we're lucky, the muscles of the forearm.
I hope to be able to get muscle function back in the top of my arm, at least to be able to hold it up, and anything after there would be a bonus. Whether I would be able to get movement in my elbow would be a huge bonus.
Throughout the time she was in hospital, she amazed all the staff and myself that she remained so optimistic about the future. It was extraordinary to see.
But having that arm there is a symbol of hope for the future, with maybe future discoveries in technology. I wouldn't certainly rush out to remove it now that I'm more aware of what other options are available to me. But if I knew that removing it would stop the pain, then yes, I probably would. But I know that it won't stop the pain because this arm's removed and the pain is there. One thing I've found very difficult is when I am feeling emotional and just want to have a good cry and there's other people around, your natural instinct is to just cover your face and bend your head down and just have a cry. And now I have to just sit there and people can see my whole face. I can't hide my face, and I find that very difficult.
You've met us all at once.
When it comes to mealtime, we always just sit on the corner of the table, so we're sort of just nice and close and opposite each other. We always just eat out of the one plate now, so I just have a mouthful and then give Gail a mouthful.
It's difficult for Mac too, because I feel so comfortable around him that I do ask him whatever it is I want done. He probably cops the brunt of it because I don't want to ask other people, so he has to do it all.
What do you want for breakfast?
Which makes it more difficult for him.
I never ever had any trouble considering that Mac wouldn't anticipate Gail's needs. I know he's there for her all the time.
I've dropped one.
The thing that probably worried me and still does worry me is that Mac has a big load on his shoulders.
Is that tender in there when I press in there? A little? Okay. What about the one below it? Not too bad. Okay, and back to your upper back, you can really feel it in there. Okay.
Gail has good nights and bad nights.
Did you say you could see the nerves moving?
Yeah, when I pull them up. When we get the bad nights, it could be anywhere from a dozen or more times. She just has to wake me up and move her arm or give her neck a rub or sort of stretch her arm or something. Tightens up across the front of your neck. You know, she just lies there from 2 o'clock on or from whenever on, just awake otherwise, yeah.
I can't let it get on top of me. Once I start to let it really affect me and I just lie there and start grimacing, it makes it so much worse and it gets stronger. It's Mac's life that's completely altered and I guess torn apart is the way I would have described it in the beginning. I don't think I would be able to continue life sanely now if I had to give him up.
I think that was possibly one of the most things that Gail was terrified about, was I going to hang around. She'd heard stories from people in hospital that the day of accidents that the boyfriend floats or the husband floats, and I think that just really terrified her.
I didn't know whether Mac would want to be burdened with someone with my disabilities for the rest of his life, because his life was really only just beginning.
I take you, Gail.
When you get married, just go through all the marriage vows and that, and I mean, I certainly took mine very, very seriously.
Gail, with this ring, I thee wed.
I was only sort of just 21 when we got married, but I pretty much had a fair idea of what it was getting myself into, and I was there for the long haul, that's for sure.
Getting to go, and what can I say? I love you very, very much. I'm just looking forward to the next many, many years together with our horses, doing everything that we love doing.
When you get married, you take them in sickness and in health, so I mean, this is the hand that I've been dealt, and that's how I'm going to play it, yeah. The way Gail looks now is just, it's almost normal to me now. I've been around her in hospital that much, and her little stump, it's just like a little arm now to me.
What do you think of that?
Looks alright.
Come here, give Gail a hug. Come give Gail a hug.
We're both still very keen to have children.
Give Gail a hug. Come give Gail a hug.
If the left arm doesn't repair itself, I mean, she's never going to be able to pick her own child up. She's never ever going to be able to feel her own child with her hands like so many people can.
It is a bittersweet thing to be with the horses. I think they sense that something's different about me, but at least I can be there.
That's the first time I've been back on a horse since my accident. I just decided to do it at the spur of the moment, and Mac said, righto. Yeah, I guess I'll be able to do more and more of that, hopefully. maybe get some people to help me train them more, that I can ride them with my legs and that sort of thing.
Gala's shown all of us, I think, that she has the strength to cope with anything that's dealt to her.
Are you going to take it? Yes, I will. I think I've been born and bred the way I have to be able to take it.
A woman is like a tea bag. It's not until you put her in hot water that you know how strong she is. And although we mightn't like to be referred to as tea bags, I think what it says is very true. I'm getting so much better now that I am able to do more and more each week. We're getting back to the stages now that we are able to do things together. Mac is my strength. He's my strength to make me feel that I should stick around and continue to try and have a fulfilling life.
We love each other so much, and it's always been such a sort of special relationship between us. We know that we've still got each other and we're still going to live more or less the dream life that we always knew we would.
A lot of people would want what we have because we're very lucky to have each other and to feel about each other the way we do. Everybody has their ups and downs, but Mac and I, we get through that and we just want to be with each other.
She's a very righteous sort of person, and would never have any conscience that I could see, because she never does anything wrong.
I don't know where Gail gets her strength, but she carries her burden, if it is that, very well.
I think at the time it had a huge impact, and I think that's kept on going.